only obstacle then is whether or not we are truly committed to the Aloha spirit, whether we're truly committed to working together as brothers and sisters in a common cause to achieve the Aloha spirit. It may sound a bit abstract to people, but it isn't to me, because I see it every day. I see it in the struggle of people. The young woman who came up to me this evening, who's a survivor of domestic violence, and is looking not for an answer from me or this administration, but looking to see whether or not we can assist her in the trek and the journey that she's on for dignity and self-worth. So I think the principal thing we have to keep in mind is that government is an extension of our values. Government has to be an institution that works. Government has to be seen as a partner with you. People don't mind paying taxes if they think they're getting value received for those dollars. Because taxes, after all, are the price of a democracy and a free people. They need to be freely given, and they need to be given on the basis that we know we're going to share the sacrifice that's necessary to see to it that we all succeed. So that's the principal thing that I'll try and keep in mind every day. And believe me, I get plenty of notice all day long when I fall short of that. To the degree I have those shortcomings, I don't apologize to you. What I say to you is I'm grateful to you for making me aware of them, and I'm going to do everything I can to subsume them so that I can be the river, that I can be the catalyst, that the governor's office, I should say, can provide the response to your faith and trust that you deserve.
Thank you. You know, Governor, this person has I guess coming off of that, you talked about the Aloha spirit. Well, in terms of economics in Hawaii, our surroundings, this individual is very concerned about our environment, especially our natural resources, flora and fauna. What is your plan to ensure that it exists?
Okay, that's a good question. What I'd like you to do is to keep in mind that this was not a campaign gimmick. This was not something that we did to fill up space and hope that people would take a look at it. This is the new day in Hawaii. The comprehensive plan to invest in education, rebuild our economy, sustain our Hawaii for future generations, and to restore public confidence. Everything that we're doing, every member of the cabinet that's here, and I want to say, by the way, virtually every member of this cabinet has given up a considerable portion of their lives, not just in terms of hours, many it's in terms of income and the income possibilities that they have to serve. It doesn't make them better people than anybody else, and it doesn't make them more noble. What it means is that they understand that if they're to live their values, live a Pono way, that they have to act it, and that's what they're here for. They're all committed essentially to this plan. And in here, I won't go into great length, is position after position with respect to what we can do with our commitment to the environment and why it is good business, why it is good for all of us to have a sustained environment. I just finished a conversation yesterday morning with Secretary Salazar, and I will mention just a couple of things to you. I went over to a presentation in Kawainui Marsh a couple of nights ago to follow up on a seminar that I attended during the campaign to inform me and educate me about Kawainui Marsh. Now, I know about Kawainui Marsh. I see it all the time. You go on the windward side. But how much do we really know about it? How much do we do any more than just react, oh yeah, it's over there, that's very nice. But there's a lot of people who know a lot about it, and they know how valuable it is in terms of watershed, in terms of endangered species, in terms of flood control, in terms of an environment that makes Hawaii unique. Or on the Kona Coast, where I'm going tomorrow. We have a proposal that I'm taking forward, not only about Kawainui Marsh, that we're going to try and work to get a federal grant to help sustain the game plan we have to not just save Kawainui Marsh, but to help us thrive and prosper as the marsh, as it's meant to be. The other thing that the Secretary is very, very interested in aiding and assisting us with, and Brian will be working on this, is the I almost said the ring, but what I'm talking about is the walk. We all know about Kamehameha's walk that saved Kamehameha all along the coast of the Kona, from Hapuna all the way down past Pu'onua, past Punakahau Harbor. There are federal parks, there's state parks, there's hotel interests, there's harbors, there is agriculture, there are recreational areas. We're going to connect those up. We're going to connect them up in such a way that you'll be able to literally walk from one end to the other and not have to go to a hotel. And the hotels are going to help us with that because they understand that that's part of the idea of Hawaii that makes it different from tourist destinations from the rest of the world. So I can assure you, whether it is seeing to it that we, I don't even want to say restore, because it wasn't necessarily available before. We're going to make available to our people, literally, the Kona coast, to be able to traverse it as human beings, rather than being isolated in an automobile and just driving from one hotel to another, or one business activity to another. We're going to try to do the same at Kaina Point on this island, to see to it that it's preserved and that it is utilized in a way that reignites our sense of aloha for one another and the blessing that we have to live in paradise.
All right. What are your future goals for doing business in Hawaii? This was raised a couple of times. I guess people feel that Hawaii is no longer or has never been an attractive place to do business. So what's the plan?
One of the things, that's a good point, an excellent point. I mentioned before about the housing. Why hasn't the housing been moving forward? Housing, affordable housing, rental housing. Well, much of the emphasis has been on speculative real estate. I don't blame people for that. I mean, when you've got a sense of values where money is the principal concern, you can use real estate to that end. And there's a market for that, and there's a place for that, I'm sure. But if it comes at the expense then of housing, of homes, of shelter in which families and individuals can sustain an existence in a dignified and in a manner that allows them to think positively about the future, then you've got a split. You've got a dichotomy that has to be addressed. And so where this is concerned, where business is concerned, we have to make sure that we don't put artificial barriers up for permitting. For example, I'm signing some bills right now that are going to do that. We have, thanks to the foresight of the legislature, a new public lands development corporation in which the head of Department of DAGS, Department of Accounting and General Services, Bruce, I'm going to ask you to come up and say a word about it. The DLNR, the head of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and the, is it the Budget and Finance? Yeah, Department of Land, Department of Business and Economic Development are 3 of the 5 members on the board. That gives me the opportunity to work with the Board of Education, for example, to get housing underway, to see that the permits are not a barrier or an obstacle, but that the permits are there for what is intended to do, which is facilitate good projects. The problem with regulations that are seen as just ways to stop everything is that it ends up stopping good projects as well. It ends up discouraging people from doing the kinds of development that will permit workforce housing, for example. So we're going to take a look at all of those rules and regulations that are actually stopping us from progressing, stopping us from being able to facilitate agriculture, for example. We'll have to make a decision. Do we want to make sure that water is available for agricultural purposes, to support entrepreneurial farmers? And do we want to do that in such a way as they may be paying less than I'm paying, that you may be paying as an urban dweller? Well, to me, I opt on the side of giving those farmers a chance to do that because they're utilizing the water for my benefit, is the way I look at it. And if that costs a little more, I want to see that happen. And if we can combine farming and we can combine housing, then we need to take a look at it. The main thing is not to demonize one another before we even talk to one another, and to take a good look at what we can do to see to it that business sees government as a partner in the manner that I outlined with housing, where we take public lands, work with private enterprise and foundations, or charitable enterprises that have a fiduciary responsibility towards their beneficiaries, like Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate, work together to see to that we get long-term investment, long-term commitment to the public benefit.
Thank you, Governor. I'm going to have to ask you to make some last remarks, but before that, we received an overwhelming amount of questions, and I want to thank you for taking the time to fill out these cards. I got to say, adult education was a big concern, and that was the first question of the night. So if you missed that, we'll try to make sure we post that on our website. Our website, right behind the governor, hawaii.gov/gov. Other questions that we were not able to get to, we will list as well.
Every question, right? Every question that came tonight, we will put on the website. We'll post what the question was, and we'll either put up an answer or an observation or some direction for those who may be interested in it. Don't feel for a moment that if you didn't get your question, everyone.
And there is a reason for that. Some of you have expressed concern that you have called the governor's office and that you've wanted to speak with him. And it's not that the governor does not want to or that we're not being responsive in that way. This is one opportunity that we want to make ourselves responsive to you here. So getting these questions, that's one way we can do that. So thank you for your patience with the office of the governor in trying to address all of your concerns. We want to know that it is important to us. So there's also another link on there that says you can contact us. If you have more questions, please go there, fill that out, and we will make sure that we post it on our website as well. So thank you very much for your patience with the Office of the Governor. And now some final words.